Now, the previous decade witnessed the rise of a cricketer whose sheer zeal, passion, aggression and hunger to score runs propelled him to the summit of a sport which is admired and enjoyed by over 1 billion people in India and world over. He was crowned as King Kohli by fans, commentators and his teammates. His relentless quest for greatness helped him push the run-scoring ceiling to an unprecedented level. The stylish right-handed batter amassed a tally of 20,960 runs between 2010 and 2019 at a staggering average. In the same period, the former Indian captain notched 69 centuries, and his ability to convert 50s into 100s amazed the historians of the game. And after dominating the sport, destroying world-class bowling attacks for a decade, Kohli finally hit a lean patch, which is now stretched to an extent wherein the swashbuckling batter seems like a mere shadow of himself while taking guard at the crease. His last century came in 2019 in the pink ball test versus Bangladesh at the Eden Gardens Stadium in Kolkata. Since then, Kohli has failed to score 100 in more than 100 matches. No other great batters of the past have endured a lean patch of this magnitude. The IPL was brutal for Royal Challenger Bangalore's former captain. He was dismissed for a golden duck thrice, while in 9 innings he scored less than 13 runs. He finished the campaign with 341 runs in 16 innings at a dismal average. His form was his strength, but for some, it seems to be now his weakness. Legends have lashed out at Kohli. Referring to Kohli, Kapil Dev questioned the retention of the senior out-of-form players. Legendary pacer Venkatesh Prasad reminded how Sehwag Yuvraj were dropped based due to the bad form. While veterans have stumped Kohli, hitman Rohit Sharma has backed his teammate. Listen in.
देखिए, हमारे लिए तो कोई डिफिकल्ट नहीं है क्योंकि हम बाहर का कुछ सुनते नहीं है, और ये एक्सपर्ट लोग मुझे पता नहीं कौन है, एक्सपर्ट क्यों बोला जाता है उनको, मुझे वो नहीं समझ में आता है। नहीं, देखिए वो बाहर से गेम देख रहे हैं, उनको पता नहीं अंदर क्या चल रहा है। हमारा एक कुछ थॉट प्रोसेस है, टीम बनाते हैं हम लोग, उसके पीछे काफ़ी चर्चा होती है, उसके पीछे काफ़ी थिंकिंग होती है, लड़कों को बैक किया जाता है, लड़कों को मौका दिया जाता है, तो ये सब चीज़ बाहर के लोगों को पता नहीं चलती है। अगर आप फॉर्म की बात करते हो, फॉर्म ऊपर नीचे सबका होता है, प्लेयर का क्वालिटी जो है वो कभी खराब नहीं होता है।
So that brings us to the legitimate question that we're asking on debate number 2, and that is Virat Kohli overworked or is he overhyped?
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, and let's take that across to our guests joining us. We're also asking our viewers to call us and express yourselves. What do you think about this latest controversy? What should Virat Kohli be doing? Should he be rested or should he continue playing? And of course, if he continues playing, will he be in top form for the T20 World Cup? That's a question that certainly, of course, we have. Amay Khurasiya is with us, former Indian cricketer. Charu Sharma, sports commentator. And Chandresh Narayan is an author and sports broadcaster joining us. Let me begin with a cricketer on the panel. Amay Khurasiya, where do you stand on this, and what do you believe that should be done as far as Virat Kohli is concerned? Even, for instance, his staunchest supporters like Ravi Shastri have come out to say that he's really being overworked and that to avoid his brains from being fried, as Ravi Shastri put it, he should be rested. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I do think so, because though I understand that even the best of the sportsmen, some dark days do encompass their brightest of the performances in the past, but here the dark days have been few years, and there's a slump in his performance, and he has been not that prolific Kohli that we have known from last few years, and we have to understand that it is the consistency which gives them the distinction, but add into that consistency, it is inconsistency which gives them the dissection, and when you dissect the grades, the wound is quite deeper, and that's what is happening. And the game is so cruel that it dismantles the legends also, and I think he must be understanding this himself. And I think way back when I did a program last year, I always felt that Brother Kohli should stop playing T20s, because here is a cricketer who can score 100 centuries for India,
right, in
Test cricket and one day put together. So,
okay,
to my opinion, yes, he is not lacking in anything. See, the possible reasons that we go for, we can see stamina, strength, enthusiasm, courage,
okay,
raw physicality. commitment. They're all intact. They're all intact. But
well, absolutely. That doesn't change the legend. That doesn't change the cricketer that he is. And please stay with us. I'm requesting all you gentlemen to stay with us. We have some of our viewers joining us on the phone line now. With us is O.P. Swaminathan. Yes, Mr. Swaminathan. What do you think should Virat Kohli be doing at the moment? I think we've lost that line with Mr. Swaminathan. I'm going to go across to Mr. Shankapani. Yes, Mr. Shankapani from Chennai.
Yeah, I feel Virat Kohli should be probably given a break. What Kapil Dev says is truly right. The form really makes the matter at this point of time, and will also do good for a player like Virat to extend his career in international cricket.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Shankapani. Moving on to K. Rajendran, who's also with us on the phone line. Yes, Mr. Rajendran.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I think at this point of time, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. At this point of time, we should not be discussing whether Kohli should play or not. Why? Because it is a totally purely administrative matter which lies with the BCCI. Okay, the eminent cricketers or anybody are free to comment on whether he should be selected or not. But ultimately, the right of selection is leaves with the selection committee. So probably it is not right for other people to interfere. Okay, they can make a comment as an expert,
Yeah, absolutely, sir. The last I heard, it was a democracy. People are free to have their own opinions, whether they agree or disagree. But thanks so much for joining us with your view. Another viewer is with us, Mohit Bhatia. Yes, Mohit.
Hello. I have a different perspective on the matter. My view is that, and I restrict my comment only to T20 of all the three formats.
Right.
T20, based on the IPL format, which is so very strong and a very global format, and basis which there are so many young people, forget the class. I don't think they would be anywhere classy if compared to Kohli, etc. But based on their form, based on their scores, they are given a chance. I would say in India there are about 50 such people who are playing, or vying for a spot in the 11. So
right.
Even if, and I'm speaking again for T20, if
right.
it is very clear that this format I'm talking of is T20, of the top 50 in the country, the best 15 should play.
Yes.
So there is nothing based on, class. He may be classy, and this has happened to and players.
Yes,
finally,
but the best have also been dropped. That's the point that's being made, and let me bring in Charu on that point. Charu, it should only be about merit, and that should be the brutally implemented rule. It should only be about the numbers and the performance. That's the view of this viewer as well, and that's pretty much what several of the top cricketers, including Kapil Dev and others, including Jadeja, etc., have mentioned. Your views on this?
Yeah, well, it's all very nice to be simplistic, but I'm afraid many things go into this pot, this selection pot of who should play, who shouldn't. We are the kind of country, that we are, and we do give an enormous amount of respect to those who achieved in the past, or perhaps only recently, on a losing run. I have no doubt in my mind that the current cricketers will particularly say that Kohli should never be dropped unless... Well, all right, let me cut through all of this. I think it's a process of communication, which is the key. Now, Rohit was right, and you played out that clip about knowing who's doing what, and they have many meetings. There's a lot of thought that goes into who should be playing, who shouldn't be, and no team wants to lose. No selector wants to choose a losing team. No captain would like to accept a losing team or somebody who's not worth it. Obviously, there's still enormous respect for Kohli's ability. And everyone's hoping that if he can find some kind of form, he is going to be a match winner once again. Now, it sounds very rough on those who are vying for a spot, those who are hungry, many others. The gentleman said 50 players, and I quite agree. There are so many who are in line. But if this communication channel is open between the board, the selectors, Kohli, and the current team, then I'm sure they would work it out, saying, what do you think, Kohli? The kind of respect we give in our country to those who are supreme achievers, there's nothing horribly wrong in it, because so many people have been in the past sacked because of this lack of communication. They've all handled it very badly. This communication is the key. If Kohli feels that he's okay for it, and Sharma and gang and the selectors feel he's still got what it takes, then please go ahead.
Okay.
It's a very difficult thing to be a selector or an umpire because you can
Sure. We can only imagine the kind of pressure that each of those roles has, and the kind of difficulties that each of those players faces, because a huge amount of pressure from every side. But I want to bring in Chandresh Narayan on one of the points that you made. Chandresh Narayan, one thing that many would be thinking about is the fact that with the pressure of being captain no longer on Kohli, one would have imagined that he would be able to focus more time on the game, on his batting, for instance, and other aspects. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be happening. Why do you think that's the case?
Hi, Madhav. Great to be connected after a long time. The thing is, the day Kohli surrendered his captaincy, that day he surrendered his right to a place in the T20 squad by right. By which I mean that he couldn't have walked in the T20 squad by right, which he was doing earlier as the captain, because now the spotlight on him would have been that much more, because he's no longer the captain, and the talk of new template, and you saw how India batted yesterday, especially Surya Kumar Yadav, and how India batted throughout this run of T20 matches that India has played over the last 1.5 months. India's adopted a new template in playing T20 cricket, and I think that Kohli somewhere is not able to adjust to this new template that India has adopted in the T20 format. And also, I think that when you are not in form, and Amay Khurasiya is here, he's a better judge on that. When you're not in form, the T20 format is the harshest format for a cricketer to get back into form, because you have 5 to 6 balls at the most, and in the case of Dinesh Karthik, even lesser, because they expect him to come and play runs from the 18th and 19th over.
Right.
So I think that right now T20 format is the toughest format for him to come back into form, and I think more than anything else, he needs to realize whether this is a format that he wants to continue playing, because ODI and Test cricket, nobody has a question about him.
Okay.
But in the T20 format, it's very tough for him to get back into form.
Okay.
Also remember, Joe Root, one of the world's best batsmen right now, the best Test batsman right now, can't find a place in England's T20 lineup. But there's no hullabaloo in England, because there's clear communication, like Charu said, between Joe Root and the English selectors, between English Cricket Board and the English cricket system or the ecosystem. We need similar communication, not just with Kohli, but with all of us, and then all of us so-called experts like
I think that's a very important point, and that's a very valid point as well, and certainly I hope our cricket administrators are taking note of the same. But let's quickly go across to some more of our viewers who are joining us at the moment. Ajay is with us from Bangalore. Yes, Ajay, your views on Virat continuing?
Yeah, there is no doubt that Virat Kohli is one of the best batsmen. And he has contributed immensely to Indian cricket. But the fact of the matter is that he is today completely out of form. Whether it is Test cricket, whether it is ODI, whether it is T20, he is completely out of form. And here he is being defended by somebody who himself is out of form, the Indian captain, who is mostly unfit during crucial Test matches. He drops out of crucial series, and he himself is unavailable during crucial Test series.
Okay.
So the selectors probably need to tell Kohli to go back to domestic cricket, come back to form, and then rejoin the Indian team. It's no use playing him when he's not getting the runs for the team.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Ajay, with your views. Mr. Swaminathan is with us from Mumbai. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Swaminathan. From Bengaluru, I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
Hello, Madhav.
Yes.
You see, he is one of the greatest players. Kohli is one of the greatest players, but he's now totally out of form. And Rohit Sharma is supporting him, because if Kohli is axed for non-performance, Rohit Sharma also has to be axed. So now they have to fight, and with such a huge bench strength, this is the right time to replace Kohli, and you get hardly 1 or 2 balls to come to the form. He is totally not in form, and he has to be fitted, removed, and then you cannot have different rules. You name the person and tell you the rule. It's time for him to opt out. He's being kicked out.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Prasidh is our next viewer joining us from Bengaluru. Yes, Prasidh.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Madhav. See, what I say is, yes, I agree with few of the people, but see, he's the greatest player. What I would tell is he can be rested for a couple of series. World Cup is, it's a very important series which we need to win. India need to win. As a RCB fan, yes, I would like to see him back in form. But yeah, definitely a rest. And playing against this Ireland was very important. Actually, he could have come in form with the Ireland's T20 matches. And he missed out in those things. I think that would have been a very good series which you could have played, actually.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thanks so much for joining us. Proceed with your views. Anirban is with us from Delhi. Yes, Anirban. Where do you think Virat Kohli is headed and what should be done?
Hi, Madhav. Good evening to the panel. I also agree that he's one of the best cricketers in the modern times. We'll have to see, the recent, opportunities that are there that isn't lying. In fact, the World Cup T20 Series is upcoming. So we'll have to plan, to plan out the best 15, we'll have to now plan it from right now. And I don't see him at this current moment is anywhere featuring in the top 15. Forget about anything else. Just erase all the images of the players, and you just fit in the top 15 or top 20. Does he feature either? That's my limited point.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me now take this back to our guests who are with us. Amay Khurasiya, many are comparing this to past experiences of many greats. Even, one of the greatest players of all time, Sachin Tendulkar, had a rough patch in the early 2000s. And, we remember that entire episode where he had to wear an elbow band, so on and so forth. So it's not like Virat Kohli is the only one. There have been others who've had these difficulties in the past. So it's perhaps pretty much normal. And he could very much bounce out of this poor form as well.
Yeah, he can. But the point is, the most important point is that you can always choose him for one days and test matches and continue over there. In T20s, as one of your viewers said that over the phone, that it is very difficult to come in form because you have got less number of balls to play and there is a pressure always on your head to perform, to score runs. And T20 also erodes your technique in a longer run. If you go back to one of your viewers' call where he said that Cook and Root, in fact he said Root, even Cook was not playing T20s for England because he wanted to perform in Test cricket and one days. Not even one days also, he took only Test cricket later on.
Right.
So I think there's a golden chance for somebody like Virat Kohli, where when you're not doing well for a long period, then your confidence just takes a beating.
Right.
Whether you like it or leave it, it happens because you're human. You're bound to go through those thoughts in your mind.
Absolutely.
That perhaps something is not. So at that point of time, you need to have a little break and go for a little thought process where you want to isolate yourself.
Well, perhaps the 2 months before the T20 World Cup would be the perfect opportunity to do that, because many, even against, of course, the advice of several of our esteemed panelists, many would be hoping that Virat is able to get back his form before the T20 World Cup. What will happen, of course, we will have to watch out for. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Charu Sharma, Amay Khurasiya, Chandresh Narayan, for joining us and discussing what the roadmap ahead for Virat Kohli is.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back.